So everything that you think you know about Martin Luther King Jr. is a carefully orchestrated fabrication perpetuated by our leftist media institutions as well as our academic institutions to sanctify a man as a righteous, moral, civil rights leader, when in reality he was a completely sexually degenerate, anti-American, communist fraud. Everything about him is fake. His name is not even Martin Luther King. His name is Michael King. He's not even a Christian. You can see from his writings in the late 1940s that he blasphemed the Virgin Mary, saying that she wasn't a virgin. He denied the divinity of Jesus Christ and denied the bodily resurrection of Jesus Christ. He said that Christianity was the same as all other cults, leading to one truth, which is essentially perennialism, which is a heresy to all Christian denominations. In fact, the only reason he was a reverend was to use it as a platform to push his political agenda. He also wasn't very intelligent. He might have been a good speaker, but the majority of his writings were completely plagiarized, including his doctorate. That fact is indisputable and completely confirmed by scholars who were originally sympathetic towards Martin Luther King Jr., and their research led to confirm that he was a complete plagiarist 40 years after his death. He was also a complete Marxist who talked about the class struggle and dreaming about a raceless, classless society. He even went to communist training seminars in Tennessee. The majority of his speeches weren't even written by him. They were written by Stanley Levison, a Jewish Marxist who was under FBI investigation for funneling money from the USSR to communist movements in America. That's why Martin Luther King Jr. ended up getting himself under FBI surveillance. And under that surveillance, the FBI found out that Martin Luther King Jr. was a complete sexual degenerate who loved to engage in orgies and beat prostitutes. Stanley Levison's also the one who wrote the I Have a Dream speech. And even if you don't care about all that and you just think that he was a great civil rights activist, think about where our country has gone since the 1960s, since the civil rights movement in terms of racial relations. They are worse than they have ever been. Not to mention that the black community is in a far worse position than the time of Martin Luther King Jr. Literacy is down, violent crime has skyrocketed, so is abortions, and so has out-of-wedlock births. So fuck Martin Luther King Jr., he's a communist burning in hell. All my homies hate Martin Luther King Jr., we like Malcolm X. I mean, he kind of sucks too because he was Muslim, but way better than Martin Luther King Jr.